Hi everyone and welcome to the Dodo Bird Nerd. It's me, the Dodo Bird Nerd, and this week's Pokemon video is going to be the final episode of my extinct animal inspired Pokemon series, at least until Generation 9 or we get more Pokemon from like Legends Arceus or whatever. And this episode I'm not going to be going over any specific Pokemon. Instead, I'm going to be going over various statistics and numbers that could be gained from looking over the series as a whole. See if we can find some trends and just some general data in general, really. So, without any further ado, let's roll the intro and let's get started. So one quick thing before we get started, that being that all works used will be in the description of the video. So the first piece of statistics I wanted to go over is the amount per generation. Now, this is probably the easiest bit of information gleaned from the series, as you basically just go over each of the videos and write down how many Pokemon were covered in each one, adding in one more for Unova because of the addendum video. And what we can generally see is there was a very high amount in Generation 1 that has generally gone down over time. There's been a few times it went up, actually just twice, in Gen 5 and in Gen 7 the amount went up, but it went down almost immediately the following generation. Now, one potential reason for why Generation 1 was so high could just be because it had the most fossils of any generation, or it could have been I was a bit more lenient in terms of what exactly I covered with Generation 1 than I was on, say, other generations. Like, I honestly don't know if I would have covered Dodrio if I was not so lenient and there was not some potential evidence for it, even though I disagreed with it. But what we can generally see here is just it goes down over time. However, it has generally been stabilizing out around that, just around 5, maybe just over 5. And I would personally like it a bit higher, as we'll see in the next slide. I'll tell you exactly how much would be amazing. So I think we'll go over to that next video section now, and that is the percent per generation. Now this is a bit more interesting as well. Most of it is generally the same. There is actually a few exceptions, because obviously the proportions in terms of how much it drops is different because each generation had a different amount of Pokemon. And so it's not going to be the exact same percentage drop or gain between two games. However, the two interesting things, the only things that actually changed in terms of which direction the graph was going in, was the Gen 5 to 6 jump and the Gen 6 to 7 jump. Now, Gen 6 previously was the second or third lowest in terms of new extinct animal inspired Pokemon. However, here it is the second highest percentage of new extinct animal inspired Pokemon overall. Obviously, the first one's going to be Kanto because it had the most by far. As for why that is, it's quite simple. Gen 6 had the least amount of Pokemon total, and so its amount of extinct animal Pokemon counted for more than, say, Generation 5's did, because Gen 5 had the most non-extinct animal inspired Pokemon, just most Pokemon in general. And because of that, we have the Gen 5 to 6 being an increase instead of a decrease like it was in just the sheer amount. However, we also have Gen 6 to 7 actually being a decrease instead of being an increase like it was in with the amount gained, just in terms of sheer number. Because again, Gen 6 just has a lower Pokemon count, so its specific extinct animal inspired Pokemon do end up counting for more than Gen 7's do. And now, this is probably the right time to discuss how much would be ideal for me. Now, ideally, we maybe want to hit around that 10% mark. Like, it's not, like, exactly great or peachy. I would want a lot more, personally. But if even just hitting that 10% mark would be great. It gets them a decent amount of new extinct animal inspired Pokemon, but it's still balanced out by the more recognizable ones, so that people aren't having animal inspired Pokemon they just cannot recognize, which is definitely a possibility with a few extinct animal inspired Pokemon. But in total, it does give them an option to have some extinct animal inspired Pokemon that I really would want to see. Like, let's say if we see Australia next generation, which I've heard a lot pointing towards, give us a Thylacine Pokemon, please. I really would want a Thylacine, but even a Moa that isn't named Dodrio would be cool. Or a Bramble-Camalomus, which recently went extinct. All of this would be really cool to see, and by having them around that 10% mark, it does allow them to have those extinct animal-inspired Pokemon and still have some of the more iconic animals from the region be present. So it's just something to keep in mind. I think 10% would be a great quantity to hit at in terms of extinct animal-inspired Pokemon in a given generation. Then we have our percent of the total, where we see that it's a bit skewered towards non-extinct, as you might have been able to guess, with 8.2% of all Pokemon having some potential extinct animal inspiration that I counted, and 91.8% of them not having that. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be high, and this just goes to show that it's not at that 10% mark that I wanted. So, I mean, again, I'd like to see it higher, because I am interested in extinct animal-inspired Pokemon. Generally, just extinct animals in general, honestly. We'll get into a bit more specifically which time zone I'd prefer to see more. But just generally, I would like to see more in general in terms of extinct animal-inspired Pokemon. Maybe to up that percentage up just a little bit at least. And the final graph for this video is the amount per geologic time. And now I will state on this chart that I did not include the Axew line and Genesect, because in the Gen 5 video, I do mention that they are just generic things, which I normally would not cover, but the things they're generic of are all extinct. Okay, yes, birds are dinosaurs, but the ones that Axew's line is clearly trying to be based off of are the more reptilian dinosaurs that we more traditionally think of, and those all went extinct at the end of the Cretaceous. So I didn't want to mark them there because they're very generic, and you could get a wide range of potential inspirations across the geologic timescale. So I did not count them, but they are indeed based on extinct animal-inspired Pokemon. I just thought I would say that here. So what we see on this graph is we see there is a very large spike at the end of during the Cretaceous period, and that is not entirely made up of dinosaurs, as you might think. In general, though, because there was other species of animals that just went extinct, like Tortuga and Carcosa were both inspired by different types of extinct turtle, and both of them went extinct in the end of the Cretaceous, or during the Cretaceous. I'm not sure if it was the end or not, but they went extinct during the Cretaceous, so that added to the score of the Cretaceous period. Obviously, there's going to be some of the more early ones that didn't have that many. I was expecting that. I also expected some of the transition between the Cretaceous and the Holocene did not have that many. That made sense. Because when we think of Ice Age inspired Pokemon, those tend to be more later on, because that's what we think of when we think of Ice Age. But what I was not expecting was one, the Triassic to have literally none. That was a bit shocking to me, because it's one of the 3 dinosaur periods, and it just didn't have any at all. Which, I mean, it's not necessarily the period I'd want to see the most of, like more extinct animal Pokemon in, like a lot more, but at least giving it one evolution line would at least not even close to evening it up with the Cretaceous, but at least get it close to like the Jurassic period. But no, it's currently at none. And yes, the Cretaceous has a lot. They don't need to do more Cretaceous for a while, I'd say. I mean, they probably will, because, a lot of dinosaurs went extinct in the Cretaceous. So we'll likely be seeing more in the Cretaceous, but maybe getting a few more in some of the other dinosaur periods would be cool. However, my favorite dinosaur is in the Cretaceous period. So, maybe we still get one more that's more closer to it, because I did give the Iguanodon to both Cubone and Marowak and Lickitung, like their evolution lines. And I don't think I gave it to Licky though. Yeah, I don't think I gave it to Licky. But I did not give it to Licky. But in general, um, I want to see a bit more closer to an iguanodon-inspired Pokemon than necessarily what we currently have. And the other thing is the period I want to see the most of. I want to see more Holocene extinct animal inspired Pokemon. Because that is the time scale I am most interested in the extinct animal Pokemon in, is the Holocene. More specifically, the ones skewing more towards more recent times. Those are the ones I'm most interested in. As you can see by the thumbnail, being entirely Pokemon, I believe that hit that mark of being either at least in the 0 to 1500 CE to at best like 1501 to on in terms of the Common Era. But I still think we should see more there. I think the 1501 on should be around, maybe not at the same point. I understand that's probably never going to happen because it is the Cretaceous period, but being around that same point would be cool. Just because it gives us more Pokemon that people may know about in terms of being extinct animals, or maybe not have known about, and it allows them to learn about these cool extinct animals that went extinct very recently. And I think that would be a good idea for Pokemon to do. Like the Thylacine went extinct in the 1900s. So they could very easily put it in an Australian region and it would get more people to know about the Thylacine. Well, that is a more commonly known extinct animal, I would assume. They still could hit a few other ones that maybe aren't as well known in the long run. So that is the conclusion of the statistics of my extinct animal series that I gained from the first few episodes, as well as the final episode until we get more Pokemon, more specifically extinct animal inspired Pokemon in general. So let me know in the comments down below how you think about this in general. But I would either attach this, I would do the updated statistics for each new generation. Either I would attach it at the end of the video going over that generation in the future, or I would make it a separate video coming out as the next next Pokemon video that I would post. Let me know if you would rather have it as just added on at the end of the, well, these are all the extinct animals from this generation, and this is how they change the statistics, or have that be two separate videos. I'd be fine either way. Just let me know in the comments down below which of those two options you prefer. So, and then in general, what exactly do you think are my statistics for extinct animal inspired Pokemon? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think we should be getting more inspired by the Holocene extinct animals? Let me know in the comments down below. Is there any other geologic times that you want to see get more extinct animal inspired Pokemon? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!